Well, it is officially time we go over everything what it takes necessary to boost your 2015 through 2023 S550. As you guys can see, this car right here is known as Apollo, and we just put an ESS supercharger on it. And yeah, you guys are probably wondering what you guys need to properly boost your S550. And yeah, I got some parts on me, and there's a lot of stuff I got to show you. First way to start off this video is, one, hit that subscribe button. Road to 100K, boys. 75% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed. Do your boy a favor, because I'm trying to help you guys save money when it comes to boosting your Gen 3 Mustang. And yeah, no better way to start this up with a cold start. Meatball, are you ready for this cold start, my brother? Uh-oh. 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 Hot damn! Got ourselves a race car, baby. How do you like that? How do you think that sounds? You think that sounds pretty nice? I think it does. We can all agree for the S550 platform, 2015 through 2023 for the S550s, the motors, I can say they'll live probably a very, very happy life at 900 wheel for many years. One, we have seen the Gen 2 Coyote. The most I've ever seen the Gen 2 make was like 1253. That is with a stock motor. I don't recommend it living there for a long time because, yeah, you're probably going to bend a rod and send that thing to space. And pretty much the same goes for the Gen 3. The most I've seen in person of a Gen 3 make was like 1150, and that was to the rear wheel. So that's kind of the equivalent to like 1300 crank. But yeah, that is extremely, extremely leaning on this motor. So in order for your S550 to live a very, very long time, there is some things you're going to have to do, and some of them can be a major job. To let y'all know what you're looking at right now, these are the factory oil pump gears that came in this car right here. So around 15,000 miles roughly, we put these oil pump gears in, or should I say upgraded ones that were a lot stronger, because if I drop these right now from about waist high, they will shatter. These things do not last, and I can even show you up close in person. You guys can see all those little wear marks, all those lines. That's from spinning this car, racing it at super, super high RPMs. Most of the time, oil pump gears could even look way worse than this, or really not that bad. Mine aren't grooved up that bad. You really can't feel anything with your nail. You just see there's lines going through it, which is not really the worst, because sometimes when you change oil pump gears, you're also going to have to change the oil pump housing, because they can get really, really scarred up in the long run of high miles on a Coyote, and all depends what kind of oil you're running too. Even show you guys what oil that I'm running. I am running Ford Motorcraft 5W50, and that is the only oil I've ever put in this car since it was brand new. After the first oil change that came with the factory oil, this is what I've been running the whole time. Pennzoil, Pennzoil, they're all good oils, but yeah, I got to plug at a Ford dealer, and 5W50 is going to work perfect for me. Also, everyone might say the tolerance is too thick with 5W50. This car's tested and proven. The Dark Horse been running 550. Also, so has the GT500. GT500 actually call for 5W50. That's just because they create a lot of heat. Obviously, that's because they're factory supercharged. So, if you're racing your car, I would say go 550. And everyone on the Coyote forums, everyone's pretty much running 5W50 as that I know that has a Gen 3 Mustang or a Gen 2 Coyote or even a Gen 1 Coyote. But I'm going to tell you this, if it is your daily and you want to save a little money on oil, you can still run 5W20, you can still run the 5W30. It really all depends. Obviously, if you're racing it and your motor's going to be creating a lot more heat, go with a little bit of a thicker oil, because at the end of the day, it's all going to break down the same. It's going to end up pretty much oil after a few hard heat cycles in it. And yeah, if you're running a car hard like me, I say run 5W50, full synthetic. And you know, maybe that's why my oil pump gears do look so good at the end of the day. They're really not bad. The housing wasn't all scarred up, and 17,000 miles of nothing but racing, that could have been bad. It turned out to be pretty good, and we didn't have to replace the housing. So this is one thing you're going to need to replace, because this is a must. If this grenades, your motor, everything else is history. So for the oil pump gears, I recommend take it to a very, very good shop. I would not trust myself doing it, because you have to take off the whole front of the motor, and it is it's a very intense job, from my opinion. And if I did it, I'd be a little nervous putting it back together. That is just not my cup of tea. But back here for the driver's side axle, this is something I did do by myself, which is took me about like an hour, honestly. It wasn't bad whatsoever. And you guys might be wondering, Jake, why do you have to change the driver's side axle only? So for some reason, boys, I think Ford did this for road noise purposes, and that's also what I've been told. Road noise being like, obviously you're on the driver's side more and you hear the road noise as you're driving. And for some reason, I don't know, Ford thought the axles are going to be noisy, but the driver's side axle is like this thick, and it's literally filled with like a foam and kind kind of like mix match of like steel and foam, I guess, but it's a lot thicker and it makes no sense. But everyone in the S550 world will always snap the driver's side axle first. And you guys know, upgrading to high horsepower axles, if it's like 1,000 horsepower axles, which we're going to see the limit of these axles. I put a driver side only GT 350 axle. So I found out you cannot actually run a GT 500 axle. Those have a different rear, and the spline is different. You cannot run that because I was like, you know what? I've seen people push stock GT 500 rears axles to like 1,400 wheel, and they've had zero issues. And, you know, I got to thinking, I've also seen the same exact thing done to GT 350s. So the GT 350 driver side axle is the exact one you need. If you got a boy at a local Ford dealer, they can hit you with the parts discount, and I think mine was like $200 for just the driver side axle. And this car, I'm not gonna lie, probably has close to a couple hundred actual dig racing passes on it with both these axles in, and knock on some freaking wood, we haven't had any issues. No brakes yet, boys. So to keep that from breaking from you guys and breaking the bank, driver's side GT 350 axle, that is the way to go. And there's also one more thing in the rear that's going to keep your rear end a lot more solid, keep you a lot safe, keep the car going a lot more direct in A to B form. And you know what? It's going to save your IRS a lot of life, honestly. Alrighty, boys, I got you under the undercarriage of Apollo, and obviously you guys can see the two red bushings. Those are urethane bushings from Steed Performance, and yeah, those things are the biggest night and day difference ever on the S550, because you got to think what was in there previously was a very flimsy, almost kind of like the rubber for the exhaust, super flimsy, super junk. And over time that bolt is getting pretty much pushed down to the bottom piece of metal right there, under a load or any sort of launch whatsoever. Anytime you're trying to get it out the hole pretty hard, that bolt is getting pushed back from the weight transfer, and those urethane bushings are keeping it nice and sturdy and helping keep the IRS very more direct. And obviously it's going to help you make an A to B pass. I can tell you from experience, those bushings made an absolute world of a difference. And I can honestly show you my buddy Chuck's car, because my buddy Chuck's car, he does not have the bushings, or he doesn't have magnetic ride. That is one thing I do have over the other S550s. I got this car with magnetic ride, so I really don't have to change my shocks or anything, because the car launches so good. But the bushings is one thing that I needed to address. I want to show you guys this clip because me, Chuck, and my uncle, we just went to the drag strip, and when his car ships, you can obviously see clear as day his bushings are shot, because that 1 to 2 shift, his car squats and bounces so hard. The urethane bushings would have literally handled that like weight transfer of that 1-2 shift, and it would have settled the car out and not bounced as much as it did. So yeah, this is pretty much what stock bushings do on a 1 to 2 shift on a drag pack similar to mine on a sticky surface. So boys, in the long run, Apollo has probably made, I mean, over the past 4 years of nothing but racing every single season, this car has probably honestly made hundreds and hundreds of passes, and this is by far my favorite drag racing setup I've ever had, and that is with the Hoosier tires. Another reason I went Hoosier tires is, one, because they're extremely light. You just got to be careful when you're taking turns and stuff. Obviously, they're quote-unquote not made for the street, but in Tijuana, they perfectly allow them. Even though my car's making only 650 wheel horsepower right now, like 660 and some change roughly, but in the ballpark, it's making mid 650 wheel. And yeah, I got beadlocks on the rear. So a lot of you guys always make a comment about the beadlocks. People have in the past, people still do. And you're not making 1,000 horsepower, why are you running the beadlocks? That is a very good point, guys. So I've had actually the same style welds, beadlock and non-beadlock. I've had them 150 plus miles an hour on this car, and I could tell you one thing, the overall stability from beadlock to non-beadlock is a major difference. And to make another point, if this is your first drag pack you're actually going to, and if you're not very comfortable with the actual sway of the car racing, because it does take time getting used to, especially if you're going 140, 150 miles an hour, it can feel a little nerve-wracking sometimes. But I can tell you this, having a beadlock will make it feel a lot better, because obviously it's got a grip on that sidewall, and actually it's keeping it more planted, it's keeping it more firm. And yeah, do it from experience, because I've learned it, and I'm telling you guys firsthand, it could honestly possibly, one, save your life, make you not make a hard correction with the wheel, which is not needed, You kind of got to let the wheel float in between your hands with this kind of drag style setup, because the car is definitely going to sway and it's definitely going to move around. But yeah, having a beadlock makes it feel 1,000,000 times better. And to the next point I wanted to make, so you guys see, we are equipped with an ESS supercharger G3X with a G4 intercooler, biggest intercooler you can go with, and we are on the road to an 8-second quarter-mile pass. But first off, I wanted to push the limits of my Gen 3 Mustang. I wanted to see what everything stock can handle-wise. What is the stock limit we can push the fuel system? And we did that. You guys will see most people on the internet say run a booster pump, which I do not like. The booster pumps always fail. They burn out the factory pumps because you're just increasing the voltage. And yeah, I really don't recommend running a booster pump. What I am going with is a FORE, F-O-R-E, double pump fuel system for Apollo, which is going to make plenty of steam for me to make around 1,000 to 1,100 to the rear wheels. And when I tell you we're going to be pushing the absolute limits of this car, we are going to find the limit of my motor, transmission, stock rear end. We're literally going to put this car through its absolute paces. So if you guys want to watch step by step everything we do to this car, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, because you guys are going to see everything firsthand from start to finish. This car from a 10-second naturally aspirated car to a 8-second boosted Gen 3 car. Back to the stock fuel system, like I said, I wanted to show you guys this. Don't mind this piece, because we had to rig this up because one of my lines got bent from doing the previous carburetor setup like this. And yeah, taking it on and off a few times. One of the lines just got a little kink, so don't pay no mind to that. This is all still the bone stock fuel system, down to the injectors, down to the fuel pumps. This is literally everything stock. So when it was stock, we had to literally detune this car. It only can shift at 6,800 RPMs because the stock fuel system ran out on the big end. But I think you guys will be pretty surprised what the car still did in the quarter mile and this exact setup. Mind you, this is the biggest pulley you can run with ESS supercharger. It is the 120 millimeter. So this is literally the slowest this car will ever be. We did 10.6 in the quarter mile at 131 miles an hour. In my opinion, is very slow, because one, that GTR over there has made an 8-second pass with AC on a 17-inch or an 18-inch rim, and yeah, full weight, full interior. So that car is fast. And also I made a 9-second pass on my GT 500. So the 10-second pass still feels slow. We made a 10-second pass with the NA, and we also made a 10-second pass with a boosted. I'm really fighting for the 9s, but I wanted to show you guys what the limit is with the stock Gen 3 fuel system. If you really, hypothetically, you cannot afford putting a $4,000 plus fuel system in your Mustang right away. Another thing to mention, when you are boosting a Mustang, you are ramming so much air down into this motor. There's another reason you got to get the air out. So I recommend running Cook's headers anytime when you're boosting a car, or honestly, you just want your car to sound better at the end of the day. I have Cook's headers on this car, on the Dark Horse, and the Shelby GT 500, because Cook's, in my opinion, they fit the best, they sound the best, and I've never had a single issue with them 4 Mustangs later. Let's say the GTR is running Cook's also, but that would be a complete lie. And yeah, that is a V6 twin turbo, and makes more power than practically all my cars put together, which is kills me at night, boys. V6 twin turbo, making more power than 3 V8s. 2 of them are boosted. And this is why the Coyote platform is the best on the market. Hence why I have 3 Mustangs. Coyote, Coyote, Predator, still a Coyote, dual overhead cam, just a little more displacement with the 5.2. But yeah, boys, that is really all it takes. Oil pump gears, a fuel system, and you pick up the style of boost you want. I recommend, if you have a 10-speed, I would say go ESS. Because it's very linear. It almost still feels like you're naturally aspirated, in the sense it doesn't hit super hard like the traditional root style blowers like you'll find on the GT 500s, and what you would see people be putting on the Whipples. Root style, twin screw, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, top mounted superchargers that is sitting right on top of the motor, they hit so much harder than the ESS, ProCharger, Vortec, Paxton. Yeah, versus those. Piece of shit, like a stink bug. Like, this guy thinks he's John Wick climbing under my headlight, dog. Get out of there. Another crucial part of this driveline that you're going to have to replace is the drive shaft. especially when you're boosted, because the factory drive shafts are a two-piece, and the two-piece is pretty much the design to make the drivability a lot better. You're not going to feel any clunkiness. You're not going to feel like, I mean, the 10-speed still clunks anyway, but my tuner's an absolute G. Shout out Revolution Automotive, absolute gangster. And yeah, my transmission doesn't clunk, I should say, driving around as much as it did previously with stock. But also, when you go to a one-piece, I recommend either going aluminum or carbon fiber like the one I have. It's a QA1 carbon fiber drive shaft. And yeah, those are good for about 1,500 horsepower. I see them all day long for like 1,500 bucks on Facebook Marketplace. So I would recommend doing a drive shaft, because if your drive shaft snaps, that could be a catastrophe. You could catapult the car. Serious car crashes have come from drive shaft issues. So don't play around with that. That is an absolute must, especially when you're boosted and you're going to be launching the car. Because you got to think, the two-piece drive shaft has a lot of different breaking points. Obviously, the front, the middle, where it's connected, because it's a two-piece, and the back. You're giving an extra spot of failure pretty much. Versus carbon fiber, which is another pro because it's lighter. You're going to pick up horsepower because it's less rotating mass, which is obviously going to show more power. And yeah, two, it's just way stronger. It's absolutely way stronger than the factory one. And yeah, this one's been on the car for 4 years now, 0 issues. And people say you cannot drive a carbon fiber drive shaft on the road. Well, all I'm going to say is this. People say that you can, you can't. Obviously, you do take the risk of cracking it with a rock and stuff, but it's all luck, I guess, at the end of the day, because I drove this car to Florida and back multiple times, and I've had 0 issues with it. So, yeah, take that with a grain of salt, boys, and yeah, don't forget carbon fiber drive shaft. Alrighty, boys, I think that is going to cover everything supporting mod-wise to boost your S550 from 2015 to 2023 model year for the S550 model only. For the S650s, I'm not too sure if we have to do oil pump gears yet. I'm still learning the car out. We haven't done anything yet to it besides headers, full exhaust, stock mufflers though, and I do have a carbon fiber drive shaft for the Dark Horse. Just got to fix one thing on that. But yeah, back to the S550 platform. I really think that is it. I think we covered everything you can do. Obviously, I do have a lot more accessories. I have a lot more parts I added to the car, but you guys can do that at your own time. You can do that at your own pace. And another thing to mention, if you guys don't have the money to go get all these parts one shot, my recommendation, get on Facebook, join every single S550 forums you possibly can. If it's a parts forum, just a regular forums, people post good deals all the time. And a lot of the time, I buy this stuff and I'll literally reflip it. Because people just sometimes want to get rid of it super fast, and they sell it for stupid cheap. So, talking stupid cheap, that brings up the Dark Horse. The Dark Horse, I found a drive shaft carbon fiber QA1 for the manual cars, such as the Mach 1, Dark Horse, and GT350, because they come all with the manual Tremec transmission. Mine is not a 10-speed, but if you get an auto versus the manual, they do have a different style of a transmission. And yeah, your boy went 6-speed, and if you're looking for a Dark Horse S650, I highly recommend it. This has been one of my favorite driving Mustangs of all time. But like I was saying, for the super good deals, I did catch a killer deal on that QA1 carbon fiber drive shaft. Y'all will never guess how much I paid for it. I'm obviously going to tell you how much I paid for it, but there was only a little stuff messed up, and that was actually where the housing mounts to your actual pumpkin is where like it, or like the loop or whatever you want to call it, where it attaches all right there. Mine was messed up a little bit, like the guy, I don't know what he did, but like that like assembly, like that little square where it connects and bolts up, he like grooved the sides down. So all we have to do is order another, pretty much like a flange piece, I guess, whatever it's called, for the drive shaft. And yeah, that was all that was wrong. Saved about $1,500 right there. And obviously, once I'm done using it, I could probably sell it all day long for $1,500, $1,600, because it is such a expensive part. And like I said, if you get a good deal, jump on it fast, because if you save some cash, jump on it quick, and you never know. At the end of the day, you could really use the part like I'm going to use for the Dark Horse. I could use it for a year or two, still be in perfect condition, clean it right back up, hit it with some simple green, wipe it down, and then repost it, and I'll still probably make $500-600 on it all day long. Well, boys, I really hope I could save you guys some money, and I really hope this video did do you justice, and it can help guide you almost in the right way on what to do when boosting your car, because there is a lot of misinformation out there. Boys, genuinely, wholeheartedly, I love you all. Thank you all so much for tapping in for today's video, and yeah, I hope this helps you guys answer any questions, because like I said, once my car got boosted, I got all those questions all the time. Jake, what do you need to boost your car? And yeah, this video hopefully will do it. Oil pump gears, fuel system, obviously, and like I said, if you guys want to watch the full breakdown of everything we're doing to Apollo. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And yeah, boys, road to 100K, grind never stops. And I do this for you guys. Hopefully I can help save you guys some money or help you guys make some money, give you guys some tips and some tricks on good old Facebook Marketplace, because I am addicted to the forums. I buy and sell wheels all the time on Facebook, literally all the time. It is such, there's literally free money on there. It's free money on Facebook Marketplace. Just you gotta have a couple $100 cash locked and loaded on you. The second you see a good deal, jump on it, boys. I'm telling you, clean it up, put some elbow grease into it, and you can flip it and you can make a couple extra bucks super easy. And boys, that is going to wrap up today's video. Much love. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you guys get your S550 boosted just like mine, and maybe I'll see you at the track one day. Godspeed, boys. I love y'all. I will catch you in the next one. Deuces.